Hey, it's showtime. Direct from the watermelon capital of the world, Muscatine Cablevision, comes your favorite program and mine, Local Color. Each week your host, Gene Bell, takes you to meet your neighbors in places you might or might not otherwise go, over highways and down trails of adventurous interviews with exciting people who want to show and talk about what they do. For the next 30 minutes, we promise to give you a good, honest, clean program asking strangers to become friends and neighbors. And now, the producer of the program, the star of your show, Mr. Gene Bell, the Muscatine Rambler. Let her go, Gene.
Down at the Uptown Cinema Theater, and I am going to go inside and see if I can interview the man who owns and manages this program. Hello.
Hello.
How are you today? Have you ever gone to the movies?
Yeah.
Do you go to this movie theater?
Yeah.
Well, come back here and talk to me for a minute. She'll probably be at the program after a while. She'll be on the show later. Or in the movie, I mean, watching whatever's on tonight. I bet there's a good one. It looks like it's going to be Local Color. We'll, I tell you what, let's do. Let's go on inside and see if we can't find some people in there. And we'll take some nice shots indoors. Look at the inside of this fine theater. I think it was built about 1920. The owner will tell me when it was built when we get inside. I think it was about 1920, and it started with a double feature opening night. I believe one of those movies was a Tom Mix film. Good old Tom Mix, the king of the cowboys. Let's go on inside. I'm standing here with a real nice fella, and he is the manager and owner of the Downtown Cinema Theater. I think I said at the beginning of the show the Uptown, but it's the Downtown.
Used to be the Uptown.
Used to be the Uptown, but now it's
when
the Downtown.
When it originally opened 51 years ago, it was the Uptown.
It's a real nice looking theater. Have you done some painting?
Yeah, we've redecorated the entire interior, and we're working on the outside.
Working on the outside.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what.
We started about 2 years ago.
Started about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I've been going to this movie theater for about 25 years. It's gone through how many different owners? Several owners?
Well, as far as I know, only two.
Let's start at the beginning. Okay, two. When did it originally open, you know?
It originally opened November 4th, 1931.
1931. What movie was playing?
Well, I can't tell you. I've looked it up and researched it, but right at the moment I can't remember the name of it.
I think I found it on microfilm one time in the library, but it's been
It
several
was a
years
Bing
ago.
Crosby picture.
Bing
It's,
Crosby double feature, though. I think Tom Mix was one of the films.
He was
Tom
one of the
Mix.
first ones. He wasn't on the first program.
You've set some real nice movie posters up here for the show, and I've been photographing some of them. You've been in the movie theater business for how long?
I started in 1939.
Well, why don't you just tell me all about it? I know folks would like to hear about this.
You only got, well, all you got, 30 minutes.
Just go ahead and start
I
rattling
started
on.
out selling popcorn in a little small town of 1,000 people in western Missouri in 1939. And I've been first one place another ever since. I wound up here owning my own.
How many theaters have you worked at over the years?
Oh, about 200.
About 200 different theaters, and I bet you've seen a lot of films. You must be a movie nut.
Yeah, no doubt. I'd have to be to stay in the business that long.
Yeah, really. Well, I'm a movie nut, too, and I like the old-time movies. What can you tell me about the old westerns? You must have watched all of them.
Well, most of them.
Roy Rogers, one of
I
my
really
favorites.
hated to see them disappear. You know, that was part of the thing the movies was founded on, was the old westerns with
Really?
Gene Autry and Roy Rogers and Tom Mix.
That's right.
And,
What's wrong with getting a comeback of some kind of these movies? Can you bring them back and put them in the theater?
I've
and show
tried
'em?
bringing them back various times. Not here, I've never tried one, but other places. And there's no interest.
No
I've
interest.
not found any interest.
I'm
for 'em.
interested.
Well, I'm interested too.
There's a guy standing over
That
there. I
doesn't-
think he's interested. He's got his cowboy hat on. He's waiting
That
for the movie
doesn't
to
pay the
start.
overhead mean you'd be interested.
No, but if you had Gene Autry on tonight, I'd certainly be down here to see.
Well, I'm glad to know there's still somebody. I asked my cashier the other day how she'd like to see Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. She says, "Who's that?" So I thought, well, that answers the whole thing.
I
The younger
guess-
generation don't know who they are.
I guess they don't. And it's too bad because we had heroes there, and they portrayed the hero, and they played the part of good, and they always showed in the film sometime or another where good always won over evil.
Always.
Always conquered evil, and the bad guy always went to jail in those days.
Yeah. Like they say, you seen one, you seen them all, but they were all a little different, but they all had the same ending.
They all had the same ending. The bad guy
The
paid
bad
for his
guy
crimes.
got punished, and the good guy came out on top, which is the way it should be.
How much does popcorn sell for nowadays?
Well, we got about 4 different prices, from 30 cents to $2.
30 cents to $2. There's
Unbuttered small is 30 cents, and the biggest, what they call a barrel with butter and everything on it, is $2.
$2. By
Which
God, we
is-
used to buy it for a dime,
That's right. I sold it for a nickel when I started.
for 5 cents. There are.
Incidentally, the salary on that was a commission of 1 cent a sack.
Is that right?
That was my week's pay.
I bet you made more money then than you do now.
I had more.
That's what I meant.
Didn't make more, but I had more.
We have 2 theaters in town. This one, the Downtown Cinema Theater, and we have the Plaza. Is it called Plaza 1 and 2 or
Plaza
something
1
like
and
that?
2 in
yeah.
the mall.
And how many? What I'm thinking, how many theaters were there back in this town? Say back in 1930. Have you got any idea?
As near as I've been able to find, about 5 was the most.
About 5.
I think maybe only 4 operating at the same time.
One was the Amuse You.
Well, it was ahead of this theater. It was, I don't know when it was opened, but
What
it
were some
was
of
in
them? The
operation.
Palace?
Museu and the Palace. There was one called the Iowa. And as people may have seen in the paper the other day, there was one up the street here about 4 or 5 doors called the American.
The American, yeah.
And that one I haven't been able to find any research on, but it must have been a Nickelodeon type back around 1905 or somewhere.
Every time I talk with some of the old timers in this town, they tell me that they talk about one called the Rat Hole. I wonder which one that was.
That was the, I think that was the latter name for the Museu.
The Amuse You, okay.
There was another theater down close to the Museu, and it may have been it. There seems to be some of the old timers I've talked to say it was one, some say it was the other one. So I wasn't around yet, so I don't know.
I went to my first movie in 1945, and I believe it was a Tom Mix movie. It was the first one was a Western film, and part of some of the scenes of that movie stick in my mind yet to this day. And I've been a Western nut ever since. I've always liked the cowboys, and I liked the cowboy film and the guitars, and you name it.
You know, the first movie I worked in the theater on was that poster right there of the Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
It was December the 12th,
Judy Garland.
1939.
1939. Listen, John, how about if we go up to the projection room and
Sure.
take some shots up there and
Sure,
do
be
some more
fine.
visiting maybe?
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
John Grace and I are in the projection room. And boy, I tell you, there's film everywhere. John, tell me, what is this?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, that's one of the original projectors that was here 51 years ago when the theater opened. Has an old Western Electric sound head on it, which tells me that it had to be around 1930 because they haven't made them since about 34. And I know they wouldn't have equipped the theater again in 4 years after it opened.
It says Peerless on it.
Yeah, that's the old low-intensity carbon arc lamp. That's just the lamp part. The actual projector head's not on there, but the sound head and everything else is all there.
Well, it really does look old.
That was, and it still runs, incidentally.
J.E. McCauley Manufacturing Company, Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah, they're no longer there.
Well, how about this one now? What do we got here?
That's the latest.
That's the one you're using now?
That's what we're using now. It's our carbon arc in a bulb called Xeon. And these are 2,500 watts, which is next to the largest that they make. Some of the drive-ins use 4,000.
4,000.
Most of the indoors, like the smaller theaters, use a 500.
What millimeter film do we play now?
35. Everything's
35.
always been 35.
What? Okay. What was the size of the film when the movies first came out?
It was 35 millimeter.
Back in 1920.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's always been 35 millimeter.
Didn't they have 8 millimeter and 16?
Not for movies, not to my knowledge.
Not for movies.
I've never seen
I'll be
any
darned.
actual that was exhibited in a theater.
What are these reels you've got here now? You were going to show me something about that.
That's the size, which was equivalent to 10 minutes of running time. That's what the first movies came out on. And when they talk about one reel, that's what they're talking about.
You mean they had to change the film every 10 minutes?
Every 10 minutes.
Ooh, boy, they must have sold a lot of popcorn.
Long in the late 30s, somebody got the idea to enlarge things, so they went to what they call a double reel, which is 20 minutes.
20 minutes, and that's this one
And
here?
that is still today the standard. That's what everything's shipped on.
I see.
Automations required that they have longer running times, so they came out with one that is 60 minutes.
60 minutes.
Which we mount 3 of those existing reels that they're shipped on. There is one further than this yet, which they call a platter, where the whole movie is mounted together and lays down horizontally.
I'll be darned.
We have this system, which allows flexibility in running special shows and stuff. It's not near the problem to set up and tear down as the platter is.
Who repairs the equipment when it breaks down?
I do most of it. Once in a while I run into something I have to call for help on.
Who do you call?
Oh, whoever I can find. Nowadays that's kind of hard.
Yeah, I bet it would
Not
be.
too many service companies left in business.
No.
Kansas City's about the closest place where there's a real qualified service for the mechanical part. And we have a sound engineer that's serviced this ever since it was originally opened, which is due tomorrow.
How many?
He's about 70 years old, and I think he's going to be
70.
retiring here before very long.
Oh boy. The movie theater business, how is it? Is it good or bad or medium or mediocre? Or what?
Compared to what?
Compared to the good days.
Oh, it's nothing compared to the good days.
How bad are they now? Right now.
Right now, we're in a slump, which is rather, it's worse than anything I've seen recently. This happens every fall, but this fall seems to be more so, probably due to the economy. And
well, times are tough right now, and nobody has any money, right?
Well, that's kind of interesting, too. The ones that I see that attend have money.
They have money?
Especially the children, which is surprising. I never have understood that. But
seems like they get money somewhere.
The adults all say they don't have any money, and I agree with that.
I know I don't have any.
No, I don't either.
This guy behind me, he's got all kinds of money. Okay, I think what we'll do now is go out in the theater and see if we can take some film of the beautiful woodwork and everything we have out there.
Okay.
Be right back.
When we started the painting, we had to plaster first. We had numerous places where the plaster had fell off due to the bad condition of the roof. We got that all done at the first of 1980, and then we began what we thought wouldn't be too much of a task to paint. 4 months later, we had the ceiling painted with about 75-gallon paint and several close calls with tilting scaffolds, what have you. So after we got through that, the rest of it became pretty easy, except for the selection of colors, which I had a nephew that was an art student in college. He came down and sat for hours upon hours helping figure out the color scheme. And we researched what we could find in the old microfilm at the library and came up with some of the original colors, which, based on what I've had people tell me recently, we came pretty close to duplicating the original look with some of the colors. The area that you have the camera aimed at now was in the worst condition when we started, and I run across a fellow here in town, trade name is Hall's Plastering. I looked at it and said, that's quite a challenge, but I want to try it. So he came in and redid it, the parts that was bad, and came out really good. He tells me that not any craftsman in existence anymore that can do any of this ornamental work, and incidentally, all the ornamental work is plaster. There's no wood in the entire interior of the building. We're now standing in the balcony looking toward the proscenium opening in the screen. The painting of the arch was the biggest challenge of the whole redecorating job. We couldn't set a scaffolding in the orchestra pit because it's rounded and the scaffolding wouldn't fit in it, so we had the scaffold over it and put planks on top of the scaffolding and use a ladder to redecorate the arch. The arch alone took about 3 weeks, and we got to the design in the center, and everybody had to stop and pause to figure out whether the picture was a man or a woman. That's the one thing we still don't know about, but we made her look like a lady. If anybody happens to know, we'd appreciate knowing about that. The last time, as far as I know, that the theater was redecorated was back in the 50s. At the time CinemaScope came out, they put in the large CinemaScope screen, which we still use today. We're one of the few theaters that still have a full-size screen. That was the beginning of what they called the New Era in movies back in the 50s. Our screen would equal about 6 of the average screens in the newer theaters.
We are now in the candy shop. What do you call this place?
It's just the concession stand.
Concession stand. I'm standing with two of the prettiest girls I've seen all day. Hear that popcorn popping in the background. What is your name?
Natalie James.
Natalie, and you work right here at the Downtown Cinema Theater.
Yep.
You like your job? I bet you do, don't
Yeah.
you? You ever sneak around the corner and watch the movies?
Yeah.
What's your favorite kind of movie?
I don't know, scary ones.
You like the scary ones?
Yeah.
Monsters and creatures and... Did you watch that thing on television the other day that in 3D?
Yeah.
You know what? There used to be three-dimensional movies right here at this theater. Back in about 1965 or somewhere along in there, I saw the creature from the Black Lagoon in 3 dimension right here in this movie. I sat up in the balcony.
Oh.
Boy, was that fun. And I did a lot of ducking, and the people did the screaming. And who's this on my other side here?
Chris James. I'm her
Chris James.
sister.
Your sister.
Yeah.
By golly, you look a little bit alike.
Uh-huh.
Are you the popcorn girl?
Sometimes, or else I'm down in the booth. I sell tickets most of the time.
You're the ticket girl,
Uh-huh.
ticket taker.
Yeah.
And I'm standing right here by the butter thing.
I know you
and
can
I'm
get
just about
yourself
ready to
on,
squirt myself, aren't
Yeah.
I? I don't think I'll do that.
Squirt your shoes.
If I do, I'm going to put my mouth down there and catch it. How much are those pickles? They sure look good.
30. They
30
are good.
cents?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as this show is over, I'm going to have me a pickle. Do you sneak around the corner and watch the movies too, do you?
Yeah, all the
I bet
time.
you do.
All
What's
the
your
time.
favorite film?
My favorite movie, or my favorite movie?
Both.
Oh, I don't know what my
movie?
favorite movie. I like love stories.
Love
I don't know what
stories?
my favorite movie is.
Oh,
but I
boy.
like love stories.
I like
Sad ones.
westerns.
You like
look out of-
westerns?
Yeah, I look out of place
Yeah.
back here, don't I? Do you like cowboy movies?
Not really.
You don't?
I don't know. Yeah, they're all right.
Do you like cowboys?
Yeah.
Oh, good. You ride horses?
No, not very often, but
Have
I'd
you
like to. I have a couple times.
Have you ever seen Roy Rogers,
No,
Gene Autry,
no.
Dale Evans,
What, on TV or something?
anywhere?
I don't know. I might have.
Have you
Yeah.
ever heard about him or read
Yeah,
about him? Or
I think so,
Seen pictures
yeah.
of him?
Yeah.
Hopalong Cassidy, remember him?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's some of the old cowboys that we used to watch right here at this theater.
Mm-hmm.
I had a whole raft of them. There's Whip Wilson and Lash LaRue and me. You have to go dump the popcorn?
Yeah, go get the popcorn.
Oh, I wondered what the camera person was going like that for. It's popcorn dumping time, and she's going to get a shot on here. I'm going to name some more. Hey, Larry, name me some more old cowboys. Come on back here, Larry. Sunset Carson, Ken Maynard, Tim Holt. There's a whole bunch of them. Tex Ritter, Johnny Mac Brown. Yeah, I think I said Lash LaRue. Of course, my hero, Tom Mix. Rocky Lane, that's right. Red Ryder, Wild Bill Elliott. There was another good one. Remember Wild Bill? I bet you Wild Bill had some of this popcorn at one time. Is that?
Probably.
Tell me, is that popper one of the original old poppers? Is that been here
Yeah,
for
it is. It's been here ever since. It's been here all the time, hasn't it? 1953. 1953.
Okay, nice looking popper.
It still works. Great.
How many bags of popcorn does this thing make?
How many will it hold?
I don't know.
Yeah,
It'll hold a lot.
in one evening. I mean, when you fill it up, how many bags you get out of that thing?
But I don't know.
You put salt in there before you start, or is that later?
We put salt in it before we
Yes.
Do you? How about for people who don't like salt?
Then they're out of luck. I don't know. If they don't like salt, I don't.
You got some butter on that already too?
No.
No? Are you going to give me a free bag when this is over with?
Yeah. Sure.
All right. No, I'm going to pay for it. I wouldn't do that. I don't do anything for free. Well, we've been interviewing a couple of nice-looking girls here, and if y'all get hungry for some popcorn, I know where to get it. Right here at the Downtown Cinema Theater. Hey, I'm getting good at saying that now, right? There's two places in town, though. I want to remind you, there's another theater in town. That's the Plaza 1 and 2, and that's a good theater, too. I want you to go to all the movie theaters that you can go to, because these movie people, they need all the help they can get. They're trying to put on some good movies for you people, some entertainment, and they want you to come and see the show, and I do, too. I might even see you down here, and guess what? I might be standing here with a camera and put you on television.
Well, hey, we're down line too. Do you want to get down there in line for the movie?
Okay. Thank you.
I think I take it. Is this a cowboy movie on tonight?
What's the... No. Young Doctors in Love.
Are there cowboy dancers?
No?
No.
Is there any cowgirls in it?
Yeah, there's one down girl in it.
I'll go see it.
Okay.
Thanks for taking it.
Okay, you ready?
We're downstairs. What do you call this portion of the theater?
This is the main floor of the auditorium.
Main floor of the auditorium.
Right in front of us is the orchestra pit, which won't be on camera. It's still intact. All we need is the orchestra.
Uh-huh. I wish we had one now.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
It'd be nice. We've had some stage shows recently, but they didn't use the orchestra pit.
And how about the balcony? That's behind us now.
The balcony's behind us. And,
You had something you wanted to tell me about the...
I haven't seen it full for quite a while, but I don't know whether the gold designs on the front of the balcony will show up on the camera or not, but we discovered during the redecorating process that there was something underneath the old paint, so we washed as much of the old paint off as we could get, and we found these original gold designs that was in the building when it was built. And my nephew, who's had a little artist training, said, well, I think I can paint over them and save them, and he did, and it really turned out great.
It sure did. Looks real
And
nice.
we've had several people comment, it looks just like it did the day it was built, so that's nice that we could save that.
Okay, well, I'm with John Grace at the downtown
Everybody,
cinema theater. I'm always saying uptown, but
everybody
it's the
still
downtown.
calls it the Uptown anyway, so I don't get upset.
We don't care what they call it, as long as they come and watch the movies,
to the
right?
movie, if they got a new name, we'll rename it for them.
I come to this theater quite often. I also came to the Fair and Young show
You did?
recently.
What'd you think of the Fair and Young?
Oh, it was real good. I went over there and talked to him. I tried to get him on our show, Local Color, and he said to me, he said, why don't you just go on home? That's what he said to me.
He was a real nice fella. He
Yeah, Farron is a real nice guy and a good singer.
invited me down to his ranch in Tennessee this fall, and if I can get away, I'm sure going to take him up on it.
That's
I've never
all
been to
right,
Tennessee. It might be my only chance.
Well, that's right. Sounds like a good time. You're watching Local Color. We're about to the end of the show. We sure do thank you for watching. And be sure and tune in again next week. We'll be looking for you. And remember, you might be on the show. Thanks for watching Local Color. We're so happy to be with you. This program's all about people, big folks and children too. We'll visit your home every now and then to brighten up your day. Now so everyone come and join the fun when Local Color comes your way.